All right, that's what I want to hear. I want you to keep that energy going for my man, Atul Patel.
All right. It's great to be in the comedy capital of Northwest Ramsey County. Welsh's Big Ten Tavern has been great to us. They're very supportive of having live comedy shows here. So thanks for that, as usual. I may look familiar to some of you. It's not because I look like a cross between Ray Romano and John Lovitz, but it's because of my YouTube channel, which is kind of a big deal. I just passed over 200 subscribers. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Your appreciation certificate is in the mail. So I really appreciate you guys. But a little bit about me. My life is based on a true story. And my hobbies include jaywalking and breaking stereotypes. But I was actually born in India, and I came to the US when I was 4 months old. That's when I lost my accent. I can still do one, but I do not use it unless it is absolutely necessary. Like when I want the tech support guys to understand me. It works out pretty well. But I used to be an engineer. I worked for that car company, Saturn. Remember Saturn? Yeah, well, they went out of business. Not my fault. But, they used to be a different kind of car company. And I was always a different kind of engineer because I like to talk to people. And I could dance and pick out my own clothes. So that's a true story. But my name is Atul Patel, and it's always been a struggle, with people making fun of it, like a tool. What kind of tool are you? A hammer, a screwdriver, or you're a real tool, aren't you? And I've had many nicknames, including Autel, Patul, Utah, Tulio, LL Tool J, a fool, Toolmeister. But my favorite, because I'm good with spreadsheets, it was Excel Patel. That's a true story too. I got sick of helping people with Excel. So the biggest problem with my name though is when you go to those state fairs or amusement parks and you get those little license plates with your name on it. Well, I couldn't get one because my name's just not common, right? So I felt really deprived and traumatized. But my payback was that my name is spelled out in the middle of the word congratulations, ATUL. So anytime you say the word congratulations, you're congratulating me indirectly. Take that, Aaron and Jenny. You probably lost your little personalized license plates anyway. Congratulations will live on forever. So you'll never forget my name ever again now. Thank you. Appreciate that. But I've realized that people in the area are about 20% non-white, 70% white, and 10% whiter. Those are the people who go ice fishing. Hey, we have a candidate, white person. There's more in the crowd statistically. But they also usually go to the state fair 3 times a year, I think. That's the other requirement. But I travel quite a bit, and I realize that the whiter a city is, the better a dancer people there think I am. So in New York City, I'm a beginner. In Minneapolis, I'm advanced. And in Chaska, I'm an instructor. I can give you lessons too. Let's see. But it's weird being Indian, and I grew up with a lot of friends who are 1/2 German, 1/4 Irish, 1/16 Native American. I think that's how you guys all reproduced. Your grandfathers would seduce your grandmothers with fractions. So they'd say, hey, honey, let's go make a 1/4 Norwegian baby tonight. I think it worked pretty well in the area. I mean, who knew math is sexy, right? It really is. But I think my genes are screwed up from a temperature and climate perspective because I'm Indian, but I like cold weather better than hot weather. I mean, you can always put another layer of clothes on, but you can't take your skin off when it's hot. right? And so that's why I live in cold climates. And I grew up in Cleveland, and it snows there too, but it's not nearly as cold. And I realized that if you fall and slip and hit your head on the ice and can't get up, it's the difference between frostbite and death. So we live in some dangerous area. That one's not a very good joke, but I'm just testing you guys. No, but I was on Instagram the other day, and I commented under somebody's post that people in Minnesota don't accelerate fast enough to get on the highway to merge in with traffic. Any other transplants notice that? Are you all from here? Yeah, you notice it? Yeah. Well, they don't do it as good as they do in other states I live, like Ohio, New York, and Michigan. So that's what I wrote. And the guy writes back and he says, why don't you go back to Ohio, New York, or Michigan? And I'm like, that's refreshing. The guy only wanted me to leave his state. He didn't tell me to go back to my country. So he's either just mildly racist or he's a statist. I'm not sure. I invented that word. But because I'm Indian, I get racially profiled all the time. At restaurants, people pull me aside and make me figure out their tip, which isn't very nice. And I'm technically Asian, right? So my friends don't think I'm a good driver, even though I really am. And they don't let me drive anywhere. But the upside is that I get to be the designated drinker. So that's kind of a nice arrangement we have going. And you know, when you fill out forms and ask for your race, well, I have to check the box for Asian or Pacific Islander. And I think that's bull because Indians deserve our own checkbox. I mean, we're different than East Asians like Chinese and Japanese people because we win spelling bees and we suck at the Olympics. That guy knows. I could give you my spelling bee story. You want to hear my spelling bee story? All right. So I was in 8th grade. I had just lost in the 7th grade semis, whatever contest. But in 8th grade, here I was in the regional spelling bee. I just kept spelling words and spelling words. And before I knew it, it was me and one other girl. And I spelled the word Kersimere wrong. And then she got past flower as the other word. So it was really easy. So she won. I lost. I won a TV. She won encyclopedias, which the TVs are much better, right? And she had to study more too. But that was kind of interesting because I was one word away from going to Washington, D.C. And that was the year that Indian kids started winning spelling bees. So it could have been me if I didn't play too many video games on the Commodore 64 back then. So that's kind of crazy. Let's see here. But I get tired of people who think I'm not American because I'm not white. Those are the people who say things like, this is America. Why don't you speak English? Well, if you want to judge Americanness based on English skills, then if you look at my ACT verbal score, then I'm a hell of a lot more American than those guys. Thanks. And I think we should have a prejudice policy, right? If you don't like or approve of a certain community, you shouldn't get the benefit from what they provide. So if you don't like Mexican food, then if you don't like Mexican people, then you shouldn't eat Mexican food, right? And if you don't like Somali people, well, then there's no Uber or Lyft for you, at least locally, right? That's only fair. And if you don't like Asian guys, well, then you don't get to use any apps on your phone, right? And definitely no tech support, so that's where we draw the line. But I have become a victim of cancel culture lately. My social media handle is haha masala. Please write that down. But Facebook won't let me use it because the letters in the middle spell Hamas. That's a true story. They actually think I'm a terrorist, but I can't be a terrorist. I'm a vegetarian and I can't even kill a spider. And besides, I want to advance in my career, and successful suicide bombers never get promoted. That's true too. But I don't know how excited you are about the whole Trump thing right now, because I'm not very excited. But I found a silver lining. I'm a U.S. citizen, but in case ICE comes knocking on my door and deports me back to India, I'll get a free trip to visit my extended family. So that'll be kind of nice. And then I'm thinking I could wear a Columbia shirt and maybe get a free trip to Columbia out of the deal. I just hope they let me back in the country. That'd be very nice of them. But I'll tell you, I got a bunch of jokes about etiquette because I think too much about this stuff. But you know, when you're at work and you're walking down a long hallway and somebody's coming the other way, you never know like when to start looking at them and acknowledging them. And then you got to think about, well, do I want to say something or not? And then you got to figure out what you're going to say. Then you got to figure out when you're going to say it, right? And then if you say something and they don't respond, then you think maybe they're an asshole or they're having a bad day. And then if you don't say anything, then you might wonder if that person thinks you're an asshole. Just really complicated. And that's why I like working from home. So, you know, there's other things too. Like, I don't even know. Nobody gave me the rule book on whether it's okay to fart at a urinal. Does anybody know the true answer? I do not. I mean, you know, it's already smelly in there. So is a quiet one okay? I'm not sure. But one thing I do know is if you're standing next to a guy who's also at the urinal, the only thing that's appropriate to say is nice shoes. You definitely don't want to say, what religion are you again? And that doesn't work very well. I tried that once. Let's see. But you know, when you come across somebody you haven't seen in a long time, people say things like, Judy, you look great. Well, why is it about looks, right? That's so superficial. It should really be something like, Judy, you still seem to have a great personality and pleasant demeanor so far. That's much nicer. You guys should try that one. And then if you meet somebody new, you always have to say, nice to meet you, right? Which is kind of crazy. I think we should say, we'll see if I regret meeting you. You guys should try these. We can start a movement. Thanks. I was on a flight from Japan a long time ago, and I was sitting next to this young guy who kept falling asleep, and he kept letting his head tip over and fall on my shoulder. And at one point, it happened for like many minutes, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, if I wake him up, that would be rude, right? Because he's trying to get some sleep. But then I thought he might be mad at me if I don't wake him up. And I definitely didn't want him to think that I enjoyed it. But I did, because he was like the son I never had. You know, so that was really tender moments. He's in my will now, so. Let's see here. But I think the one thing that people say to other people that's really annoying is, you look tired. You look tired. Like, why the hell do you need to say you look tired? I mean, it's either making fun of the fact that I didn't get enough sleep or something with my jeans. I mean, do you want me to like take a nap in front of you because you said something really stupid and boring? Okay, that was a dumb joke, but I thought I'd try that one. One thing that's really complicated are emojis, right? Like smiley face emojis. There's 37 of them. Like, how do you decide which emoji to use? You don't know, right? Exactly. There's no handbook or answer, and they don't tell you what they are, right? But, you know, that's annoying. But then the biggest one that I find annoying is when somebody gives you the thumbs up emoji, which is basically their way of saying, I want to kind of acknowledge you, but I don't have 10 seconds to properly respond to you. So what I do is I just give a thumbs up emoji back, and that really throws them off. Should try that one too. But does anybody here not drive a Subaru? I think we have the Subaru driver. You have a Subaru? Oh, shit, your friend does. Okay. Well, I think we survived the Prius plague that we used to have in the Twin Cities, and now we have a Subaru scourge. I mean, they're everywhere. I think they're reproducing, and they're not just for lesbians anymore, which is kind of nice. But they're really smug car owners. Like, they think they have the perfect vehicle choice, and everybody else bought the wrong type of vehicle. Is your friend like that? No, okay, that's good. She's a unique Subaru owner. I mean, it's not a Bentley or it's not a Ferrari. There's no reason to be smug. But I'm sick of all the full-size pickup trucks driving on the road with empty beds. They're usually not work trucks. They're usually $75,000 garage queens, right? and those guys driving were the first to complain about high gas prices when they're filling up every hundreds of dollars every couple of weeks. But there's this thing called supply and demand. I mean, the more you use, the more the price goes up. And then, then they complain about the price of eggs, which is fine. I'll stop with that one. But the off-road pickup trucks are the worst. I mean, people driving those, it's like wearing hiking boots to a track meet with an empty suitcase and trying to run as fast as you can. I think that's an apt analogy. Oh, and then I realized that if you don't use turn signals, you can't be a good person. Controversial, I know. It's very inconsiderate, right? So I like watching when one guy not using a turn signal merges into somebody else not using their turn signal. That's kind of like karma. But what I do is if they don't use turn signals with me, I use the opposite turn signal. So that way they don't know where I'm going. I think that's fair. Makes a point. I'll end with these. This one's kind of stupid and corny, but short, but maybe you'll like it. Those hand sanitizer pumps that are empty? Those are actually COVID traps. Let's not try that one. I got a couple more. I'm almost done. That's good. Just stay away from those COVID traps, sir. Please. We don't want you to catch COVID from a hand sanitizer bottle. But no, I watch a lot of TV, and I've learned that I need more prescription medication in my life to make it a better life. Do you see those guys like running businesses, having a great time with their friends, dancing around? I mean, I don't care if one of the side effects is death, because at least I'll die happy. All right. And then the other thing I realized from commercials is that if I change my insurance company, my life will be a lot funnier. All right. Thanks, everybody. My name is Atul Patel.
Keep it going for Atul Patel. I love telling the story about the first time I introduced him and I turned him Irish. I was like, give it up for Atul Patel. That would have been quite a hybrid, an Irish Indian kid. Just imagine that. You guys enjoying yourself so far? I love that. I love that. Is this time well spent? Yeah? All right, cool. I'm glad to hear